This corruption is gonna stop. It's pushing good people over the top. It's causing pain they don't deserve. These fucking judges, what a nerve. I can smell the smoke in the air. People losing their lives every day. We can't stand for this bullshit game. It's time to light this shit on fire. Let's burn the bitch down. They take our lives. Let's burn the bitch down. It should be no surprise. Let's burn the bitch down. They deserve what they get. Let's burn the bitch down. There is no regret. They're taking kids, ruining their future, making dads run scared through the fire. The court's destroying families, they're such a liar. When the days turn into the nights, they give up, they have no fight. When you break the man, you take his soul. When you take his child, consider yourself told. Let's burn the bitch down. They cause our pain. Let's burn the bitch down. We're not insane. Let's burn the bitch down. They had their chance. Let's burn the bitch down. We show our stance. We won't stand for this anymore. Here I am, let's settle the score. I don't wanna bust your balls. Your honor, you need to fall. You lie almost every day. Pissed off parents are on their way. You can get away with this anymore. I'm scared when they pound on the door. You think this is a joke? You'll know better when you smell the smoke. We won't stand for this anymore. We are parents headed to war. Let's burn the bitch down. Whoa. Let's burn the bitch down. Whoa. Let's burn the bitch They are taking our kids every day. A child a minute, no one has a thing to say for those who have been isolated. Don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up, everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallets. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come, we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You will no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She's tired of our kids being taken. God damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher screaming out loud about a CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up by Tiff Tack. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with hot speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out, CPS, here we come. Picking you off one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. Your judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher Warrior. And we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. Our children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping.
Ah, there I am. Hey, Tiff.
Hey.
What's happening?
Well, I'm on it. So I mailed out my demand letter for the review of records and a closure letter. I gave it enough time to get there, and then I emailed everybody, including my own lawyer, and said, "I'm sure by now you have gotten this, but this is now my electronic notice, and it will be in my records." And the CPS and the director both emailed me back. It was like, "Received, thank you." Yeah, okay. So get your ass on it.
I love that. I love that so much when they send you back that short answer, like, yeah, we got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Because you know that they know.
well, here's the thing. The director does not like me, but that is not my problem. That's her problem.
Tiff, I don't think any of CPS likes you.
Well, that's a them problem, not a my
Right.
problem.
Of course, we all know this. But I think overall that's what we know is that they don't want to cross you. It's not even that they don't want to cross you, but they know that when they come with you, there's a headache that's involved in all of this. So maybe it's
Well,
better
then,
off do the right thing, right? Do the right
right,
thing, and then there
right,
won't be a problem.
right. And not only do the right thing, leave me alone.
Yeah. No business here. We have no business here. I mean, and you know what the problem is that's just like tonight's guest again. He's got to go to a whole different goddamn country because these bastards fuck with him, he's in hiding because these people are, he's exposing them and they just won't leave him alone, and this is what they do to everybody. And people, listen, if you think that don't let people tell you that you're crazy because you think you hear people out in your yard at night, or that the same person has been following you around in a van or a car, or, you swear to God that you know that person in the grocery store and you've seen them every place, because chances are good that is CPS following you. They do these things. That's called gang stalking, and that's a real thing.
Well, not only do they follow you, they will literally take pictures of you.
They will buy houses in your neighborhood and post up next to you to watch you and follow what you're doing. I mean, this is a real thing. So if you feel like you're crazy because of these things, you're not. You're absolutely not. And chances are good. Trust your gut. You're right. You're right that there are people out in those woods waiting, taking pictures of you, doing whatever that they do. It's almost to a degree of harassment, but these psyops in this country and these things that these people, these government agencies do are real. So believe in that. Don't think, don't get yourself down because you're like, maybe I am crazy. No, you're not crazy. This is the real deal. This is real life. What's going on here? And they will gang stalk you. They will do it intentionally to make you crazy. They will make you think that you're going nuts. Putting sounds in places. There's just all kinds of things that they do to gang stalk you, to make you think that you're going crazy and to keep track of you. It's crazy. But I mean, have you experienced that stuff, Tiff? You must know this stuff, right?
Oh, well, I know that they'll stalk you and they'll send people to watch you. But I don't care. First of all, I don't go anywhere. And if you're recording me on my own property, then you're violating my Fourth Amendment rights. So you just keep it up. But I've had parents come back and have pictures of them that nobody should have.
Yeah. In our bedroom, the house behind us, everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody, they were like, yeah, you're crazy, Darren. You're nuts. You're this, you're that. And when I would come up to the edge of the yard, this person would come out on the deck. Immediately, when I'd come up to the edge of the backyard, they'd come out on the deck immediately. When you'd be 30 seconds later, a police car would come around the neighborhood. And then, of course, everybody's like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. And then one night we're looking up there and you can see these little blinking red lights. And sure enough, there are cameras that were looking down at us over here. Well, here's the other thing. That house was jet black at 8 o'clock at night. It looked like Tiff's house. 8 o'clock at night, there was nobody in there. And then at about 5:30 in the morning, all of a sudden, lights would come on, like so they woke up or whatever. Well, this one night we stayed up and we watched. They have the same car come and pick up the car that's in the driveway and they would leave. So every night they would leave at 8 o'clock and then they'd come back at 5:30 in the morning. And they'd bring the car and they'd come back. So one day I go out and I'm taking a walk and I'm like, this is really screwed up. Of course, everybody's still telling me that I'm crazy, like this is nuts and all this. I go over and the basement windows had been frosted over. Well, you could see just enough. There's like a lip, like an inch big, you could see just enough that I looked in there and I got my phone on there to take pictures. And what was in there? Just like you see on TV, the hanging pictures of everybody that comes to our yard, everybody that came to our house had their pictures on that wall. And then it wasn't shortly after that my brother had actually come down to tell me I'm crazy and I need to, get my shit together and everything, that the back window of the house said somehow the blind had pulled open and they had one of those damn cameras, with like the lenses on it, like these huge lenses pointed right at our house. And my brother's like, holy shit. And then as soon as our case got over with, guess what? That house went up for sale. So yeah, you're not crazy. They do these things, and I think our guest knows something about that here. So let's bring Daniel back out for a second round, and let's see if Daniel knows about that stuff. Daniel, what do you know about gang stalking and all that they do?
You know, it's everything you just said is absolutely true. The thing about it is I was already crazy to begin with, so I knew exactly what was happening, and I could see through all their lies, and I could see through everything they were doing. I mean, I am a mentally incompetent man, as you mentioned last time. I've dealt with mental illness for my entire life, and I have worked with people who had mental illness, and I used to be a psych nurse in a maximum security prison, and I worked with homeless people in the streets. And so when they started doing all this stuff, I saw right through it because I knew exactly what they were doing. And it is real, and they will do this stuff. And luckily, they haven't offed anybody recently like they did Nancy Schaefer back in the day, but that I know of. But I mean, everything else they're doing, the psyops, it's all real, and that's the problem with our government at the moment, is they're turning the cameras inwards instead of outwards where they should be, and that's why we're here, right?
Right.
To expose the corruption, expose the crimes, expose the bankers who are in control of all this, and turn the cameras back on them.
Yeah, it's just sad though, because you know how many people that are being told that they're crazy, they're nuts, they're this, they're that, and they're not. You know, like they're not. These things are really happening to them, and
absolutely.
It's just another way that CPS is winning this fight and pushing.
Well, it's not CPS. I mean, it's the government as a whole. I mean, that's why they're building the big data surveillance, the data centers across the country, so they can institute mass surveillance the way they have in China. I mean, it's a global thing. It's not just our cause. It's not just. Go ahead.
I haven't really been following. I mean, I know that the data center things are big, you know that, but what are they planning? What are the purposes of these data centers other than to house the data? But what are they? What is the main reason that the government says that we need these data centers?
Well, it's an artificial intelligence nerve center, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, just like we have nervous systems, artificial intelligence, it collects so much information. And they are watching everything, as we found out with Snowden like 15 years ago, right? I mean, how much worse has it gotten in that time? So they need these big data centers to collect all the information, to be able to go through all the information, to be able to, you know, control the population and send us all ads and sell us all stuff and monitor our every movement, which is what's up with the flock cameras and everything else that's going on. But I'm getting off track here. That's a whole different story. I'm sorry. There's another. I'm in South America, so the block parties. They.
Yeah, they have a good time. Yeah, they're having a good time over there, man. That's what we need to do. Like,
no, me, I spend most of my time in my room doing research, but at night the cities, they come alive, right?
Yeah, they do. They're crazy, man. They're nuts. Everybody there has a good time, man. All right, so let's go back to. Let's see. What do we want to go first? We want to go with. Following the money. Let's go back to these boards here and let's see what we got. Let me pull up.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, I was just going to do a quick run through of what we've already done.
Yeah.
Just so people are up to date. Yep. So can you pull the slides up as we go through?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for here. Let me pull these up. I was wondering which one we were doing first here. Let's see. I got the following the money. That's the first one, right? Is that the first one we're going to go through?
Or diamond?
We got the following the money with the house looking like place, and then we got the following the money diamond.
So the diamond is first.
Okay, let's look at the diamond. Here we go. Diamond is up. There it is. We'll make it bigger here. Okay, here we go. All right.
There you go. So what I'm trying to expose with all this is, I mean, it has nothing to do with the law. And so every time I hear somebody argue the law in a family court case, I mean, it almost infuriates me because it has nothing to do with the law. It has to do with money and bankers. And if you look at this diamond, I mean, it starts down at the family court, and then it has all these different levels of federal, state, local, county funding that goes up to the controlled at the university level, which is a subrecipient that where all the committees are held.
Yeah.
And then from there, the money flows into bank accounts and trust funds, which are controlled by what they call community foundation trusts, which there's 1,100 of them across the country. One in every major city, as many as 30 or 40 in every major state, and at least one in every small state. And all these trust funds are controlled by the CEOs of each major bank in each major city or each state. And these CEOs of these banks and these community trusts, they control as many as, in some cases, 2,000 or 3,000 nonprofit organizations that control the courts. And the CEOs of the banks, they use to elect the politicians, elect the judges, and then control the entire system.
Now, how do these people get placed in those positions?
So these people are placed in these positions depending on who they know. So if you look at the various organizations, like in Hawaii, where I come from, the CEO of the largest bank who controls the foundation, he's actually on multiple different boards of directors of different court-related nonprofit organizations, such as Catholic Charities. He was on that board. He was on the board of Child and Family Services. And then the other CEOs of the other banks, they were also on the boards of other court-appointed nonprofit organizations that the court uses. And if it's not the CEOs of the banks themselves, then it's their family members, their wives, their brothers, their sisters, or it's the judges themselves, which is a complete and total conflict of interest. So it's the people. Yeah, they built the system and then they run the system, and all this, these billions of dollars, as much as like $5 billion per small state like Hawaii, flows out of our pockets and out of the pockets of taxpayers, and then back into their nonprofit organizations that they control, and into their banks that they're the CEO of, where they get kickbacks again.
Yep. How many judges? So judges are on multiple panels, I've noticed, right? Like they're on all these different judicial watch committees. They're on every one of these type panels, like you're just saying. And that's wrong for them to be involved in so many of these groups, right? They should just be a judge at the bench. That's it.
That's true. But the big difference and the key difference here is those judges being on the boards of nonprofits, that's against the law. That's against federal law. That's against even state law. And that's against our constitutional rights, because the judges, it's a conflict of interest for them to control a nonprofit organization that has its citizens go in front of that judge and then also get sent to those nonprofit organizations that they control. That's a violation of every law there is, and so it's a RICO act. I mean, it's a RICO situation, and it's a wire fraud situation, and that's completely illegal.
But we're seeing it happen everywhere.
Yeah, which is what
so what do we do about those things when we see judges out there doing that? What's the right remedy for that?
Well, we got to remove them from the nonprofit organizations for one. We got to remove their family members from the nonprofit organizations. In my specific case, my judge, he sent me to a nonprofit organization, a mediation group that his wife was a director of, which is just absolutely crazy. Talk about a conflict of interest.
Right.
And then, of course, they answered to the Community Foundation Trust, the bankers at the top, who, I mean, eventually built them more nonprofit organizations that they used to defraud the federal government to bring, our taxpayer dollars into their nonprofit organizations by violating our rights, by creating statistics out of us, and by forcing us to go to these, domestic violence or mediation groups or, child evaluators that we didn't need to go to. Also, that way they can get more federal grant funding by defrauding the government.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just got to put a stop to it, which is slide 5.
Slide 5, yeah. That's the. But we were going to go. I know I don't want to jump ahead on that. We just kind of walked into that conversation there. Do you want to move on to the next the next slide?
Yeah, absolutely. See, that's why I get so upset when I hear people arguing about the law, because it has nothing to do with the law whatsoever. I don't care if it's the Constitution, if it's state law, if it's federal law, if it's American with Disability Act. It has nothing to do with the law. These judges are so blatantly breaking the law that, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're talking about the best interest of the child, if you're talking about the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution and illegally stealing your children. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's these bankers who are purposely breaking the law in order to defraud the federal government. And so slide 2 shows you step by
I mean,
step
to a degree, you're absolutely right. To a degree, you're absolutely right. But there are instances where the law will, if you are knowledgeable of this stuff, there is a chance that you can use the law in your corner and help you in these cases.
Yeah, if you got $1 billion like Donald Trump, or you're Elon Musk,
right?
Or you got a lawyer who's connected to the judge because they play golf on Sundays. Otherwise, no. I mean, you got a 1% chance of a judge actually following the law.
Actually, well, there's still a chance.
Yeah, a 1% chance. I mean, I had 11 judges recuse themselves from my case. Every judge across the state recused themselves from my case, except for one. And then that one judge. He took my case because his father-in-law is actually a big-time businessman who is the board of the chairman of a board of directors of an organization that gives millions of dollars to all these nonprofits. So that one particular judge, he's like, "Oh, I'm big and bad. My father-in-law runs the whole system, so I'll take this, dad down and teach him a lesson." Little did he know, I knew exactly what he was doing, and I knew who his family was, and now he's going to get,
right.
Now he's the one who's going to go down in the end. But we'll talk about that later.
Right. Breaking the law. Yep. All right. So there we go there. We are on your next diamond here, following the money.
Yeah, so if you follow the money, these nonprofit organizations, the Community Foundation Trust, they use a series of loopholes in the law that allow them to collect up to $750,000 in federal funding without being audited by anybody, without being audited by the state, without being audited by the federal government, the Department of Justice, the IRS, anybody. Because the federal government is so big and it's pumping out trillions of dollars that they don't audit small time, individual organizations. There's that $750,000 threshold. So the Community Foundation will create a nonprofit that receives, $500,000 from the federal government for this grant for domestic violence. And then they know that they'll never get audited because they're under the threshold to get audited. So then they write internal policies and procedures that allow them to violate our rights illegally. They're supposed to, according to the law, follow the law, but they don't. They write internal policies and procedures that have nothing to do with the law whatsoever, that actually allow them to purposely violate your rights, so that way they can keep you coming back, so that way they can turn you into a statistic, so that way they can keep making money off of you by getting by providing services to you. And so one small nonprofit that receives initially like $500,000 in federal funding can make as much as like $5 million in federal funding, because then they'll also bring in a team of sociologists that will also get paid through a different funding stream, the Health and Human Services, for their social services, or they'll get paid through HUD, the Housing and Urban Development, to pay for their office and their whatever homeless shelter they'll provide for people. And so one small nonprofit domestic violence, or a psychologist or a child evaluator can eventually have anywhere from 5, 10, 15 different revenue streams that are all under the threshold for being audited, and be making like $5 million or more per nonprofit organization. And so then what the Community Foundation Trust does, the bankers, they create 1,000 of these small individual organizations that 1,000 times $5 million, you're talking about like $5 billion
Right.
that they're defrauding the federal government out of by violating our rights and by purposely taking our children and by, scratching each other's backs and just passing us from nonprofit to nonprofit so that way they can keep making more and more money while we get screwed and while they steal our children.
Yeah.
And that's
Now, are they
essentially
printing
number.
money? Are they printing money off of these kids too? Do they print? Does the Fed print dollars because of this?
That I can't answer. I'm sorry. I mean, the Federal Reserve obviously is, which we'll get to in slide 4 or 5.
Yeah. Are we moving on here from this one here?
Yeah. Let's move on to number 3 real quick. I'm just trying to do a quick rundown so that way we can get caught up to the next couple slides.
Let's see. Where's that one?
If you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah. So Jen Brabson says that $750,000 is the threshold under which they're not audited.
Correct.
Is that because that's the threshold that the auditors leave open for they're just missing the guidelines or something? Is that what that's all about?
Well, no, it's according to the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 2, Subpart 200, I think it is. It's the threshold that the federal government created. Under $750,000, they're not going to get audited. So it's just like, it's like if you have a kid and, you're a father and you make, $10,000 a month and you give your kid, $10 to go buy candy at the store. You don't care what that kid spends $10 on candy at the store when you're dealing with, the entire household and you're dealing with, your job and everything else. It's the government, the $750,000 threshold. It's just such a small number for the federal government who's dealing with trillions of dollars that up until this point, they weren't auditing anybody under that point. But now with the new anti-fraud task force, I'm hoping they'll remove that threshold and start coming after these individual nonprofits that are blatantly breaking the law.
Right. Is this the one that we wanted to get to? Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the next one. So if you look at the Community Foundation Trust and the CEOs of the banks that run them, if you follow the money up to the top, then it eventually leads to the Bank of International Settlement. So it goes from the Community Trust up to a larger banking organization like JP Morgan and Chase or Charles Schwab. And then from there, the money goes to the investment firms, BlackRock, Vanguard. And then, of course, the Treasury is involved. And I'm sorry, I can't even. The Treasury and the Federal Reserve are involved. And then from there, it goes up to what they call the Bank of International Settlements, which is a bank for banks that handles something like $50 trillion in transactions. And so $50 trillion.
Holy
it handles all the international transactions between all the different banks. So when you go to sleep at night, this bank, the Bank of International Settlements, it's handling all the money that's flowing back and forth around the world, making sure that those banks are processing payments correctly, making sure that one country has enough money to send to another country. So this Bank of International Settlements, it's a bank for banks run by the different, I think 69 different Federal Reserves for 69 different countries, and it's an unappointed, unelected body of officials that control the entire world's currency. And these unelected officials, I'm sorry, forgive me. They vote by majority where the world's money is going to go. They control the world's monetary policy. And so these people, they'll say like, okay, Nigeria needs more money, so that way we can, withdraw more oil from the Nigerian oil fields. So we'll take more money from the United States and we'll send it to Nigeria, so that way we can develop their oil fields. so we can make more money for the world economy. And the thing about this is none of these people at the Bank of International Settlements follow any one country's constitution or any one country's federal laws.
Right.
And so when this bank is making decisions for the entire world about where money is going and how it's going to different places, it's not following the Constitution about whether, our children should be stolen in family court. They could care less. It's not following the Constitution about, well, what does President Trump say, or, President Biden, whoever was president at the time, say about this fiscal policy? And if you notice, the U.S. Supreme Court, that's the one area where they've rebuked President Trump. They wouldn't let him touch the money with the Federal Reserve or remove the Federal Reserve chairmen, because the money is not controlled by Americans. It's not controlled by the Federal Reserve. It's not controlled by the Treasury. It's not controlled by the president. It's controlled by the Bank of International Settlements. And so us, our money, our taxes, our children, our houses, everything that's being taken from us is eventually flowing up the pipeline to the Bank of International Settlements, who is then determining what to do with all of our money and what countries that they want to build and or make money off of.
Wow.
I'm sorry, that's a lot. Is that too much information?
No. I don't think so. I don't think that this it's just
so this is why this is why I get upset when people argue the law. I'm like, it has nothing to do with the law whatsoever. I mean, it's these people that are in Switzerland that are deciding what our laws are by controlling these banks that control the community foundations, that control 2 million nonprofits across our country, that write the laws, that elect the politicians, that elect the judges, that determine our future. Our future is in the hands of these bankers in Switzerland that nobody really knows anything about, that's not elected, that has that has complete control over our finances, that answers to nobody except for the billionaires and their nonprofit organizations, which is the next slide.
Right. That's what I'm trying to look for here. Hold on a second. I'm just digging that one out here. Let's see. Where did all this begin? While I'm looking for the slide, like, how did this all become part of all of this?
That's actually on the next slide. So back,
okay, cool. That's what I'm looking for.
The Bank of International Settlements was created back in the 1930s by the Rockefellers. And their names aren't directly on the Bank of International Settlements, but there's two gentlemen, Fraser and McGraw, who were employees of the Rockefellers bank, Chase at the time, that was run by J.D. Rockefeller, I think it was, who created the Bank of International Settlements to deal with the reparations from Nazi Germany during World War I and World War II.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and at first the U.S. Would not join the Bank of International Settlements because they knew flat out it was illegal to do so. It was a violation of the Constitution.
Right.
And then in the late 80s, early 90s, Ellen Greenspan and Clinton decided to sell out our country to the billionaires in return for a couple $100 million and the Clinton Foundation, and join the Bank of International Settlements and sell our country out. But that's a whole different story.
Right, it's a whole other fight here. Like, I'm still looking for this one from her. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Are you getting my messages? Yes. Okay, so this is check out this image. Okay, I think this is one of them here. Download this one. Let's see. Sorry about that. I thought that I had them all, but I guess I did not. Let's see here. This one is the $50 trillion worldwide repo fraud scheme one. We already have that one, correct?
That's the next one. That's the next one.
Okay, so I can share that right here. This way, share screen. Boom, there we go. Share. All right. Then is this one here? Maximize. There we go. All right, that's this one, right?
That's that one's
all right.
Correct. So if you look at who controls the Bank of International Settlements, they say that it's the federal reserves of each country, correct?
Yeah.
But with that said, who controls the Federal Reserves? And so if you follow the money even further past the Bank of International Settlements, what you come to is a group of nonprofit organizations run by the Rockefellers, run by the Rothschilds, run by the Clinton Global Initiative, run by the banks that they all run, JP Morgan Chase and BlackRock and Vanguard. And
Yeah.
so if you look at this, the top line, I'm sorry, it's really small on
Yeah,
my screen. I'm on a really
Yeah,
old
it's,
phone. But if
yeah.
you look at that top row, that group of banks, investment companies, and nonprofit organizations, every single one of them has individuals from various federal reserves that are on their board of directors. They have various people from the CIA itself
Right.
on the board of directors. They have people that are former presidents of former countries. The former prime minister of the UK, the former president of a South American country that I was recently in. And if you look at the World Economic Forum, that's even bigger. I mean, they have the president for the European Central Bank on their board of directors.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and I mean, it's ridiculous. So all these people that control the central banks of the various countries, the actual like presidents of the central bank, the former members of the Federal Reserve, New York Federal Reserve and other Federal Reserves, they're on the board of directors of all these companies. And so these billionaires that control the world, they just call up their board member, the president of the European Central Bank, and they say, okay, we'll have these 10 European central banks vote to take America's money and send it to Nigeria or send it to whatever country they decide they want to invest on. And what it comes down to is essentially these billionaires at the top, they're using wealth from first world countries like America to invest in third world countries and start wars and then rebuild those countries. And when they do that, they channel all the money through the Bank of International Settlements down through the World Bank and through the International Monetary Fund and through the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. And they channel the money into their own companies and into their own nonprofits. So you start out at the bottom at family court. Sorry, one moment.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, no worries, man. I mean, you're having a good time in South America.
I'm not having a good time. Not at all. I'm alive. I'm still being gang stalked here in South America. I'm on the verge of starvation. I've lost 150 pounds since I left the U.S. I'm moving from country to country and small neighborhood to small neighborhood, using various burner phones.
Are they? So they're actively
living
looking
in-
for you over there.
Huh?
You say that they're actively searching you out over there.
Oh yeah. Not the people in the state of Hawaii. They have no idea where I'm at. The low level people. My ex-wife has no idea where I'm at. The politicians in Hawaii, they probably have no idea where I'm at. But the people at the top of this pyramid that we're discussing, the CIA, they know exactly where I'm at. They're still following me around South America, trying to control my life and watching me and snapping photos of me. And
Right.
I mean, same thing, different country, same thing.
Right.
So anyways, sorry. What I was saying is, so these billionaires top the food chain, they use their connections and they use all the directors of all their various nonprofits from various countries and various banks to control the Bank of International Settlements. That then sends the money through the World Bank, the IMF, and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, through trust funds that they create at their banks, such as JP Morgan Chase, to then be sent to various nonprofit organizations. Hello?
Hello, you're there.
Okay, yeah. So they take the money and then they send it to their nonprofit organizations and their businesses in third world countries, where they start wars and then rebuild the countries, making money that way. And of course, the nonprofit organizations who get billions and billions of dollars in funding to help other people rebuild the country. So back to the beginning, it has nothing to do with the law whatsoever. What we're fighting, nothing at all. Which is why I get upset when I hear people argue the law. I'm just like
Well, there has to be a front that they're putting on to me. They can't just say that we're just stealing your kids.
And that's the front. I mean, right. the judges, the nonprofit organizations, it's just a front. They're just actors in a movie. I mean, they're just actors in a play.
It totally makes sense in this fight because we can't beat them with any of the court stuff that we use, any of the fighting tactics that we come at them with legally. They diffuse all the time. Like we don't beat them.
Yeah.
And then they let go a certain percentage of people because they have to, just to keep the appearance of the law, I guess you would say. But it makes total sense because you come at them with all kinds of legal jargon that should work, and it doesn't ever.
It doesn't. I mean, all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. I've had 2 U.S. Supreme Court cases, and if the law was followed, I should have won both those cases.
Right.
But, I mean, if you look at the U.S. Supreme Court, Chief Justice John Roberts himself is corrupt. I mean, his wife, from what I hear, has her own lobbying business, who has made $10 million on lobbying on cases that have come before Chief Justice John Roberts. I mean, it's just it's smoke and mirrors. There's nothing to do with the law whatsoever.
Right. Wow, that's nuts. I mean, so where is the next move? Like, what is the proper? What do you do? Because this is bigger than any of us. Like, so where is this? Like, where do the parents, or where does anybody go when you have all of this that you're talking about? And you're right on track with another one of our good friends here that works with us. I want to try to see if I can get you guys in touch with each other, because he's this is his alley too. I strongly suggest you look up Fostering Reality on YouTube and check out his work, because you're going to find that there's a ton of similarities here, and you're really going to dig what he's doing. He's a good friend of ours. But what do we do as an American public, as people, as parents, and all of this? What's our move?
So that's the next slide.
Okay, let me find that one. I don't know if Jen sent me that one yet or not. Let me see, 'cause I don't see. Let me look up here. Hold on 1 second here. Jen.
How do we fight back? That was the next
one.
one.
Yeah. Okay, so I do have that one. Okay, so that one is right here. Image, share image. How to fight back. There we go. Open. And that one's here. Maximize. There we are. All right.
I'm trying to make my screen bigger so that way I can.
Yeah, I think that's as much as I thought I could maybe zoom in on this one, but I can't.
No. You're good. I'm just trying to make my screen bigger on my phone so that way I can see it a little better. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry.
Maybe if I do this here.
So, yeah. So you have one of them up right now?
Yeah. I
Sorry, I'm messing with my I'm messing with my phone so I can. My glasses are like 3 years old, so I have trouble seeing small things.
Yeah, I have the How to Fight Back one, and it says expose, connect, hold accountable, expose the corruption, contract individuals in. Let's see. Let me pull it up here. Let me pull up the regular one. Share text.
No, that's good. My phone is frozen at the moment, so I
okay.
I just totally screwed myself a little bit.
No.
There we go. It's back. So if you want to go through the boxes for me, box one, I can.
Yeah, expose the corruption is box one.
So can you refresh my memory a little bit?
Sure can. Hold on. Let me pull it back up myself here. Let me see here. Let's see. Image. I do this.
So there's a series of steps that I've taken to fight back.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
And ultimately it led to, after 11 different judges recused themselves from my case, the 12th judge finally followed the law. And I'm not gonna name her and get her involved in this, because she did follow the law, and since she followed the law, I'm gonna leave her out of it.
So then sometimes the law does work in these cases.
You know, I had to leave the country and do things that I'm not going to mention on YouTube, and protest in ways that nobody's ever protested before in order to get them to follow the law. But yeah, after a year and a half of me putting my life at risk and doing things that no man should have to do to hold these people accountable, eventually they followed the law. But it
came with a price.
It came with the price. And I mean, yeah, and I'm no longer gonna partake in that system because the price they made me pay.
Right.
But if you want to go through the first one,
so
for
yeah,
me
it says first Google all the people, lawyers, judges, and all organizations that have interest in your lives or cases. Then it says
correct.
So okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry about the noise. So what I did, the first thing I did is, I mean, like I've actually spent 20 years researching the corruption in these banks around the world, which is why I know what I'm talking about, because I've seen all this stuff in action in other countries and in our own country, and I've connected the dots using tax documents, and I've connected dots using SEC filings, and I've actually been able to put together all this fraud after a lot of hardship and a lot of research. So when I came into the court system, the very first thing I did was start looking for those dots and those connections. And I Googled every single person who came against me or was going to come against me or had the potential to come against me, whether it was the judge, my ex's lawyer, a potential gal, the clerk. I mean, I knew everything about every single person. And not just them. I didn't just Google them. I Googled their families. I Googled their organizations that they're a part of. I could tell you their life story before I even went into the courtroom for my first hearing about every single person. So that way I knew exactly who and what I was up against. But when you do that, you're not just looking for the people to find out who they're involved with. You're looking at the organizations that they have conflicts of interest. Like the judge that I was with at the time, Judge Ng, his wife, who's also a judge, was a board of directors of an organization that he sent me to. So I knew exactly what was happening. And then you Google their real estate transactions as well, and you find out that they're also involved in the real estate of the nonprofit organizations. And then you find their trust, and you find out, oh, well, these trust funds are involved in some shady stuff as well, with other various organizations. And so the very first thing I do when I come up against a judge or anybody in family court is I find out everything I can about them. I stop studying the law. I mean, it's good to know the law. You need to know your rights. But I want to know about the people I'm up against.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What was the next thing?
The next thing, now we're going to the next box, right? The contact everybody in writing, contact individuals in writing.
Yeah. So what I did is once I Googled everybody, I didn't just Google them. I Googled their contact information. So, I mean, everybody's contact information is on the internet. They can't hide it no matter how hard they try. I'm not going to give away all the secrets about how to get a hold of anybody and everybody, but let's take a look at like officials at the Department of Justice. Most of them are lawyers, right?
Right.
So, I mean, most of them, you can look up their contact information, their work contact information, not their personal. You don't want to stalk these people.
Right.
You're just looking up their professional information. You could go to the bar association for each state, and you can look up their professional contact information.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I found the contact information for the most powerful people within our law enforcement within the United States, at the Department of Justice, and then they have something called CG, which is above. I'm sorry, the OIG, the Office of Inspector General, which is above the Department of Justice, and then they have CG, the Council for Integrity and Government Efficiency, I think it's called, and then they have something above that, which is PSLOB, which is personal liberties and something or other, I forget, but they're actually an executive office that answers to the White House. And so that's the line of what's it called, authority, the chain of command, sorry.
Yeah.
That's the chain of command. So these judges in these small towns that are taking away our kids, they answer eventually to the state. The state answers to the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice answers to the Office of Inspector General. The Office of Inspector General answers to CG. CG answers to PSLOB. PSLOB answers to the White House. And so I found the contact information for all the directors of all these various organizations, and I emailed all of them at once, en masse, all the evidence I started gathering about the judges that were committing these crimes. And I made sure that I included evidence. I didn't just call them up and say, hey, this judge yelled at me and I don't like it. I actually gave them verifiable proof and evidence that, hey, this judge is violating this constitutional right by committing this crime because their wife is a part of this organization, and their coworker is on the funding committee of the federal funding committee that funds the court that they're a part of, while they're also seeing citizens in cases where they're stealing children, which is a conflict of interest. And so I found the email addresses of all these different people and all these different leaders of our country, and I started sending them evidence of corruption of my small town court in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of Hawaii.
Right.
And they never responded to me, but every time I did that, the judge, his actions would change. So once the judge threatened to hold me in contempt of court for something that was completely illegal, and so I emailed all these officials, like, dude, this judge is threatening to throw me in jail over something that is not illegal.
Daniel, we lost your audio there, buddy. We lost you. I don't know what happened there.
You there?
There you go. That's better. Yep.
Yeah. Am I talking too much?
No.
You guys want to hear this stuff?
Yeah, well, we're listening, so go away, my man. Do it up. I'm writing down.
Yeah, so like once the judge threatened to hold me in contempt for something that wasn't illegal and that was something that was stupid, and he was just trying to control me and put me in my place. So then I sent a mass email with that information that this judge is corrupt. His wife is on the board of directors of this organization that he sent me to, which is violating this, and this law. And he's threatening to hold me in contempt for voicing my opinion and exercising my First Amendment rights. And you know what? That judge never tried to hold me in contempt again. He never threatened to hold me in contempt again. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Wow.
And so, yeah. So they never responded to me, but the judge's actions told me that these people were listening, even though they're not actually.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's paying attention. I have no idea to this day who it was. Right. I have an idea of who it was. I'm not going to mention it, but people at the federal level were paying attention, and this judge was getting a phone call from somebody. So,
right
from there, though, I mean, the crimes continued, and they just kept finding new ways to break the law, the judges. And so I was like, okay, well, if the federal government isn't going to reel these people in, I'm going to go, above the federal government. Because knowing what I know about the world and how the world works, I started contacting the nonprofits that run the federal government at a international and a national level. So some of these organizations that I showed you in the other slides, I started contacting the board of directors of like the Rockefeller Foundation and the what was it? The Rockefeller Foundation. I contacted.
Yeah.
It's good to meet you. Mucho gusto.
Right.
Yeah, mañana. Mañana, cinco media.
Si Dios quiere.
Sí.
Estamos.
Gracias. Sorry, lo siento. I'm sorry. I forget what. I'm
So we're on
sorry.
the Community Foundation and Trust, nonprofit organizations they fund and run, elite bankers and billionaires, their lawyers. Expand your outreach.
Yeah, so I started when they kept breaking the law, in spite of me emailing the Department of Justice and all their chain of command, and then I started emailing the CEOs and the directors of these international nonprofit organizations that actually run the government. And so then I started getting a different response, and I started going up the chain of command using this graph, because essentially what I'm giving you is a chart of how the world works.
Right.
So I started using my knowledge that I have from doing 20 years of research on all this to try and make changes within the system. And changes kept being made, but they were being made on small incremental levels that weren't actually making a big enough change to make a difference.
But you could see the change.
I could see the change.
Right.
But I mean, here I am in a South American country without my kids, still being gang stalked.
Right.
Because I decided to tell the truth.
Right.
So the changes weren't big enough to actually change the system enough to do any good.
Well, so your next
but
book
what it does, I'm sorry. What it does is it puts all those people on notice, and it makes them all liable. Because once you email those people, you have they have no immunity. These bankers, these nonprofit organizations that run the government, they have no immunity. Right. So once you let them know that they're breaking the law, then you can now not only sue them in civil court, but you can also, file criminal charges. We can't, but the federal government or the state governments can. And so that's why I sent out mass emails to all these people, because now they're all liable for everything that's happened to me. Down to me having to sit here and talk to you in the South American country. They're liable for the fact that they didn't do their effing job and made me do everything I've done to fight back. So the next one, I'm sorry.
The next one is taking action, right? Protests, sue, fight the trusts, hold accountable.
So taking action. What we need to do is, what everybody's doing, going after, an individual lawyer, that's great, because that's your case. Or going after an individual judge, legally speaking, of course, that's great, because that's your case. But we need to start suing the community foundations. We need to start suing the bankers. We need to start suing the nonprofits, because they don't have liability. We need to start protesting them. They're not going to, pride is their number one sin, right? They want to look good in front of the world. We're these big, beautiful bankers who are, saving the world. Or we're this nonprofit organization. We're saving the children. The hell you are. Go protest in front of that nonprofit organization, letting the world know that they're the ones that are stealing the children. And I guarantee you they're going to start making changes. Which is what I've started doing, which is actually leading to changes in Hawaii.
That's excellent. That's good stuff. Now, what about, you said spread the word. So educate others, share your findings online, build communities, recruit, empower the things, use social media, podcasts, independence, media, and public platforms. That's where you're at. That's what you do, right? That's where you reach out to groups like us and people like us that try to get this word out and spread this word out.
I did. In the beginning, I spread the word to as many people as I could, as far as I could, as wide as I could, in ways that I guarantee you no father has ever done before. Maybe a few fathers have. But you just got to get the word out, because not all these people are corrupt. Well, I believe a lot of the ones at the top are. They could care less about anything except for money. The people that are working for them are not. Not all the clerks in these courthouses are bad. I know a lot of good clerks in Hawaii who, I don't want to say helped me, but were rooting for me for sure. And I mean, there are good people within some of these low-level nonprofit organizations. I mean, they're there for the right reason. They want to help. They're just trapped in a system that they have no control over.
Right.
And so you want to get the word out as far and wide as possible so you can find the people that actually do want to help. You can recruit people that can help your cause, whether it's on the front end
how many
publicly or
people
on the back end.
How much rejection
Go
over positive reinforcement do you get in these situations when you've been out? Like, what is it, like 4-1? You're going to be rejected over someone saying that they can help you, or 10-1, or what is it? When you're reaching out to people.
It just depends on the individual person and who they reach out to on any given situation. You could be one of the lucky ones who, has that connection that is going to, make a difference. Or you could be like me, sitting in a third world country fighting for your children's future. It just,
right,
by the grace of God.
So, and then you say here, if it doesn't work, you do what? You
go
escalate.
International.
Okay.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, go international. Start reaching out to human rights groups. Start reaching out to the United Nations, and start reaching out to, organizations that hold the governments accountable. And I mean, a lot of them are funded by the same people, but they have people that are there to enforce international human rights laws. So I mean, you want to get bigger and bigger and
But how does
bigger
that work
until
with the
you.
United States? Because the United States isn't part of that children's treaty, correct? Like, so how does that work when in that situation?
That's something we discussed last time. It depends on which treaty you're talking about, but none of these organizations have ever represented Americans before. But now they're going to, and now they are. So that means that they have the authority to hold our politicians, our judges, our bankers accountable, because now they're acting on our behalf. So they're acting on behalf of our rights, our constitutional rights, our federal rights.
Is not leaning on the international courts and the international lobbies a way of kind of promoting the New World Order, though? Don't you think of it like kind of like that? Like, how can the rest of the world tell our country what we can and can't do? Isn't that kind of promoting that type of mentality of a one world government?
What it is it's holding people accountable.
Right. Understood that.
So I mean, for the past 250 years, America's been completely independent, and we are independent. And I believe we should continue to be independent, and I believe in our Constitution, and I'm fighting for our country, and I'm fighting for our Constitution. That's my number one thing right there. I'm fighting for faith, family, and freedom.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with the very top tier of people within our country who are not following the law because they're part of the quote unquote deep state, then you need to use whatever resources you have to expose them, to bring accountability to them, to make sure they're doing their job, whether that's within our country or outside of our country, right? So I'm not promoting a new world order at all. What I'm promoting is accountability.
Right.
I'm promoting exposure. When somebody in the federal government, let's say the Department of Justice, gets a call from, the United Nations and says, why are we getting calls? You guys are the Department of Justice of the United States. You have the Constitution. You have the Supreme Court. It embarrasses the frick out of them, right?
Right.
It makes them look really bad because they're not doing their job. When they have all the resources, they have trillions of dollars at their disposal to do their job, to follow the Constitution, to protect us and our children, and they're not.
Right.
So when they start getting calls from various people, various agencies that may or may not have control over them, it exposes them and their corruption, and it sheds light on things that have never had light shed on them before. Right?
Right. Understood. I was just asking that question because there are people that frown upon the NWO, and I wouldn't want to push them towards options and make them deterred from what you're saying because it's them thinking that it's trying to push to the narrative of the NWO. That's all. That's the only reason I was asking you that.
Well, that's the whole. The NWO is already here. I'm sorry to tell you, the New World Order is already here, bro. Right. It's called the centralized banking system. It's being controlled in Basel, Switzerland. It's what we already discussed.
Right.
Right.
Right. So
people can say, well, we don't want to push for a new world order. The new world order is here. whether you realize it or not, unfortunately. And I'm trying to bring back our rights in our country and fight for our children.
Mm-hmm.
It's the centralized banking system. People just don't understand it.
Right. So, all right. Now, if you say, now you go to your plea to these politicians, the government, and to the billionaires. You say, if you're a government official, in this block here, you say, expose and report the crimes of corruption and fraud to your supervisors first, following the chain of command. Report to the government, public, and watchdog officials from the lists above. File formal complaints. File retaliation lawsuits if you're discriminated. So that's pretty much saying whistleblowers, right? You want people to be these government officials to whistleblow, for sure.
Absolutely.
Like that's what your message is to them, right? That's a message we should be purveying as American people too. Like, if you see this corruption, do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta have the courage to do it. I mean, I'm literally a mentally incompetent, mentally ill man who has no money whatsoever. I mean, I'm starving, quite literally. I need to eat a steak because I am so low. I'm so
Depleted.
I'm so low on weight that I need protein because I'm seeing double vision because I have a lack of vitamin B1 thiamine
Right.
that's messing with my vision. Yeah, we need to do whatever we can.
Right. And then you say here, if you're a politician in a place of power, have the courage to realize at this moment in time you can be the power to make a change. Stand up for the people and the Constitution and justice. Lead the integrity and be remembered for doing what is right.
Exactly. I mean, what trained me for that was I was a registered nurse, and I went to nursing school, family nurse practitioner school. So I spent 10 years in university and 10 years working in the medical field, and I can't count the number of CEOs of hospitals, like big time hospitals, my boss's boss's boss, that I had to get into verbal arguments with in order to save patients' lives. I mean, I can't count the number of times I put my career on the line in order to save some random homeless patient who I'd just met 5 minutes before, who was going to die if I didn't do my job and stand up for that person that I just met as a nurse and make sure that the hospital followed the patient's rights and gave them the best care possible and didn't care about, needing to get rid of that patient because they needed to fill a bed.
Right.
We just need to have courage and strength and do our job. It's that simple.
Yep. And then your next one, you say, if you're a billionaire causing all this trouble, simply stop. Use your vast resources for good, like Elon Musk. Invest in humanity, restore families, and build a legacy of good, not greed. History will hold you accountable.
It will. It does. I mean, so far these billionaires are trying to rewrite history. I mean, the Rockefellers are trying to portray themselves as these amazing philanthropists with their Rockefeller Foundation, instead of the fact that they're actually, responsible for starting wars and killing millions of people around the world. Right. But history eventually finds the truth, which is what's happening right now with me on this podcast and these infographics I'm putting out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are eventually going to start holding the Rockefellers accountable.
Right. Their names are put out there enough. I mean, their names are out there enough that people should start doing something about it. Or do you think that they would put the pressure on them enough? Like everybody's talking about it. The buzz is that, of all of this stuff, of them controlling the narrative, to controlling our education, to controlling our food sources, to controlling all this stuff. You would think that eventually people have got to start saying something, but are they going to? That's the next question.
I think they are. And honestly, I mean, I shouldn't even say this, but I think the Rockefellers are trying to change. I mean, as a person who spends a lot of time in the world, traveling the world, I'm seeing a lot of changes, like with Venezuela. President Trump, I know that's a hot topic. I don't want to start talking about, politics here. But instead of, sending the military into Venezuela and destroying the entire country and rebuilding it, they went in and they got Maduro and they left. And, they didn't kill 1 million Venezuelans doing what they wanted to do. And so I think that is people at the top, like the Rockefellers, starting to make changes and starting to see the error of their ways. And I think it's because of, Elon Musk and Twitter, or X. I'm sorry, free speech. I think they can't control the internet the way they would like to use it to control the narrative the way they used to be able to with the legacy media, ABC, NBC, CBS, where we got all of our information. Now the internet is providing us a voice that the bigwigs can't completely control, as evidenced by our conversation right now. And so I think they are starting to try and do better and make changes. But I mean, they're not making changes in the family court system. And you asked me that 30 million number I got last time we spoke. The U.S. Census. The U.S. Census estimates that there's 22 million children in single-family homes, and we all know from our experience that every single one of those children is in some type of family court situation, dependency court situation, foster care situation, whatever the case may be. So, I mean, multiply that, all the peripherals, you're talking 30+ million people.
Yeah, that's it. And this is what I don't understand is this group has so many people affected by this that I can't believe that all of us can't unite under one cause and we could change the complete narrative of history because there's so many of us that are affected.
Yeah, no, we can. We just need to start going after the right people. We just, legally speaking, of course.
Right.
We need to start holding the right people accountable. We've learned from 50 years of family court that we can't do anything against the judges or the gals or the lawyers because, they have immunity, so to speak, which is a bunch of crap because according to U.S. Supreme Court, they don't have immunity because they're breaking the law. Per Shower v. Rhodes, I think it was. But the point is the government is the force field that these billionaires are using to protect themselves from accountability. And we just need to skip that step altogether and start legally holding these billionaires and their nonprofit organizations accountable where they have no immunity and where they are completely open to criminal liability and civil liability.
Right. That's what we all keep trying to say. Every one of us that are here, that are on the Tiff and Punisher show, everybody that's in our podcast, everybody, we're all trying to get this unity thing. And it seems like we all get stuck up on this. Narrative of trying to fight amongst each other, and that's too bad. Because we're all trying to fight for the same damn thing. We're just not getting there, right? We're not. Which
is why I've supported. I've supported every single group that I've come across. And I mean, some of them have disagreed with me, and some of them have asked me to leave their groups because I'm too uncontrollable when it comes to my worldviews and what I'm trying to do here. But I've supported every single group. The Pro Se Dad Facebook groups, Dave Weigel, Fraud Family Court Warrior Fraud Project. I know he's kind of controversial right now, but I still supported what he was trying to do. Mm-hmm. Various other I support you and what you're trying to do, get the word out. I support everybody. But at the same time, I'm also getting the word out that there's more that we need to do. We need to stop looking at what's directly in front of us and look at the big picture and start legally holding the correct people accountable if we're going to make change.
How do us simple people get to the Rothschilds and to the big, to the Bilderberg groups and things like that? How do we go about that way of reaching out to those people and be the voice to those, the select few that control us? What are means that we can do that?
What I've been doing.
Right.
I can't reveal everything I'm doing. Right. I'm being recorded.
Right. Understood.
There's a lot of stuff I just can't talk about.
All right. Now, what about you, Daniel? What can we do for you? You have a Cash App? Do you have a Venmo? Do you have anything that people can send you something? I know you're saying you need a steak and you need that and you're depleted. I'm going to send you a few bucks. How can we get you some money?
My thank you so much for saying that. I can take any money I can get. At the moment living off about $1.50 a day for food.
Right. So what can we do to get
even in a South American country, it doesn't go very far. My mother has agreed to allow me to have people send her money through her Zelle account if people have Zelle. Okay. And then she'll wire it to me through Western Union or some other way.
Okay.
if not, if you're willing, I don't know if you are or not, if people can send you money and then you can send me the money through Western Union, that would be fine with me too. I'd appreciate that.
I can do that.
Yeah, because I'm fighting these bankers. I was just recently debanked. I lost my bank account about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I've had a really rough time these past 2 or 3 weeks, not being able to get money to survive.
Right. So we're
but
we can talk. Let's stay on after the show. I can get your Western Union information and everything from you. But if you guys want to send Daniel some money, you can send it to me at DGENP. And I'll put it up on the thing right here for Cash App. And I can make sure that Daniel can get some money so that we can get him fed and continue on for his fights for what he's doing.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. I need all the help I can get at this point. I mean, honestly, I've been too broke to buy vitamins, so that way I could, get my.
Yeah, you can't fight for these people if you can't stay healthy, man.
Yeah.
So
anything helps. $5-10 goes a long way in a South American country.
Right. Well, I'm gonna send you $20. So we start there, so you know that you got 20 coming from me. So we can do we'll do that. So if anybody else wants to add to it, let's say maybe by what day is today? Wednesday. Let's say get them to me by Friday, and then Friday I'll send you a Western Union. Would that work for you?
Oh, that'd be fantastic. That'd be amazing.
All right.
So I got one last thing I gotta say before we go.
Yeah.
There's a reason I've come on your show and explained everything I've explained. And I'm sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a reason I'm making a public record of my legal fight, because in the future, when I need to do things to hold these people accountable in ways that has never been done before, if that happens, these videos are a record that I tried everything along the way.
Right.
To make that happen, and it didn't happen. And so my intent and everything I've done since I've left the country, and everything I may have to do if things don't change, my intent is to hold these people accountable. Mm-hmm. That's it. My intent is never to do anything wrong or never to break any laws, not that I have, that I know of, not that I plan to. But my intent moving forward, which is very important, is to hold these people accountable.
That's excellent. Tiff, you got anything you want to add to this before we close this out here?
I just want you to be safe, because we all know how they can retaliate. So I just want you to be safe.
Yeah, I know. They've been retaliating against me for 3 years. I expect it. At this point, I'm just, yeah.
All right. Well, let's Daniel, don't kick off when we get over here. I'm going to end the show right now. Stay tuned, stay up, stand by so I can get some information from you after the show. All right, my man?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. And everybody else, we'll be back tomorrow night with the Angry Citizen. And, we'll just keep on pushing for the greater good of people. That's what we do. So everybody have a good night. We'll catch you all tomorrow.
Well, the children are all so far away. APS swoop team, I rough and took them today, with tears welled up in their eyes. No parents by their side.
95 kids, 96 kids taken into CPS custody during this podcast, guys. See the number right there? Ridiculous.
Don't you think for a minute you are weak because they're gone? There wasn't any warning for you to follow along. A caseworker has no soul to hold in check. It's why they leave us parents such a wreck. Don't stand for the head. protect the children at all costs. This game is not over. We have not lost. We have the power He gives us inside. We rise to the faith when it's time. You never stand by yourself. Take God off the shelf and then draw the power you need to beat it, beat it. Draw the power you need to beat it, beat it. When Tiff and the Punisher are hosting their show, rally around them, let's get up and go. They give us the strength to fight for our rights. Tiff and the Punisher are here to give you strength. We want you to get in the fight. Your kids will never say goodnight without you in their side. As long as Tiff and the Punisher have something to say, don't give up. We are all here for your strength. Your Lord high in the sky. Tiff and the Punisher by your side. And your kids wait patiently for you to arrive. Don't give up your fight. What APS is doing isn't right. So don't waste another day. Put your broken feelings away. Stand with Tiff and the Punisher. Give up and fight.
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?